Welcome to this week's Desmond's Donders Photo Diary. Why not join us on our Donders? Diary, 27th of February 2020. After filling with LPG and diesel, I headed off to pick Lindsay up from work. I spotted a barn owl on the way to Elgin. We headed to our first overnight spot at Tarbert Ness. On the way, it was a badger's turn to get caught in the dash cam. They look very different when they are running. Nearly 11 PM when we arrived, so it was time for a cuppa and then off to bed. There was one other incident on the way. I stopped in a passing place to let an oncoming car past. Turns out I was waiting for the lighthouse. Whoops. 28th of February 2020. Well, that was nice. We got a long lie-in at the car park as it remained quiet. After a late breakfast, Lindsay headed off to photograph the area and I took some very windy video. I also used my DMR handheld on air for the first time. Very clear and 5 quick contacts were made. There are lots of birds about and we had a buzzard hunting in the field next to us. After a light lunch, we headed off north. We have 3 possible spots planned for tonight. We stopped in Aurora for some supplies, then through Helmsdale and towards Forsythard. Just after Helmsdale, we saw a red deer and captured one on the dash cam. Lindsay tried to photograph, but it was too wet and windy, and the pictures just didn't come out. We saw more deer on the way to Forsythard. We decided to stop at the RSPB car park we spotted last time we were here. No time to visit the flows today, it's getting dark. But with stew for dinner, it's time to chill and ready to explore tomorrow. "29th of February 2020. It was dry when we woke, so we took a walk along the new boardwalks across the flows to the lookout tower. The old path is still there, but it's partly submerged. After our walk, we packed up and head out. We headed out for Browster Leeds. This is another RSPB reserve. We had lunch here before once again moving on. Our next sport of call is Friesdain Long Cairns. Lindsay took a walk up the hill, but I declined. From the cairns we headed to Dunnet Head, where we planned to spend the night. We arrived in time for a lovely sunset. Great timing. when we settled in for a meal and then in for an evening of music before bed. First of March 2020. I heard the news via GB3 OC on 2 meters. After breakfast we decided to head down to Dunnet Bay, as despite a calm night the wind was getting up and the rain. The car park was empty as we got parked up. We are meeting an old friend who also just happened to be reading the news this morning. We had soup for lunch and then Denny arrived and we chatted the afternoon away, catching up. We also managed to empty the cassette today. In the early evening we headed for Old Wick Castle, which was to be our overnight stop. Not long after we arrived we were contacted by another old friend and we were meeting up with them tomorrow. We settled in for the night and caught up with some reading and relaxing before exploring tomorrow. Second of March 2020. Up and off for a walk to the castle. We spotted a skylark singing on the way. We explored the castle and chatted with another explorer. Then back to the van and Colin and Eva arrived. I know Colin from my time in the RAF. We spent a couple of hours catching up before they left. What a lovely addition to our trip. We had some lunch, headed to Wick for some shopping and then on to our planned overnight stop. Lindsay caught sight of the setting sun and quickly headed out to take pictures. I stayed in the van. We had a lovely meal and settled in for the night. More castle exploring tomorrow. Third of March 2020. It's another nice day and another walk to a castle. Noss Head also has a lighthouse, but it is the home of Sinclair Gurnigo Castle. Before going to the castle, however, I picked up a geocache. We explored the castle and then set out for Kenogett. Ken again, I watched the Hoot the Swans on Loch Watternan, while Lindsay followed the trail to the Ken. And then we moved on. We moved on to Walligo Steps. At first glance the steps are closed. However, a friendly local told us it was okay to go down as they were not working on them at the moment. I went down part way and Lindsay did the whole trip. I decided to head back to the van and make lunch, while Lindsay walked the steps. Then we headed to Leibster Harbour, our planned overnight stop. A lovely little sheltered spot for the night. We had a walk about before settling down to relax in the evening. March 4th, 2020. Today we have another sunny but cold morning. After breakfast we filled with water at the harbour and then left for our first target of the day. The Hill of Many Stains is that target. Parking here is extremely tight, so after exploring the stones and a walk around, we set off quickly for our next target. We're at Campster Grey Cairns. Parking is better here and it is a pleasant walk in the cold but very sunny weather. No sooner had Lindsay seen the gates to the cairns than she said she would not be going in. I walked around the back of the cairn, and guess who disappeared inside for a look. Back outside, we headed for a look at Campster Forest, but decided not to stay and headed instead for Lather and Wheel Harbour, which was to be our overnight stop. Lather and Wheel Harbour. We explored and I flew the drone. Later, Lindsay made pancakes and we chilled and had a lovely relaxed afternoon and evening. And it's a lovely spot for doing just that. March 2020, with a lovely morning at Lather and Wheel. Lindsay went to the hilltop walk and the fairy walk, and I flew the drone again. I also chatted to another drone flyer who had come down to fly. Then after lunch we headed for Little Ferry, but decided not to stay as a lot of gorse and broom had been ripped up, destroying bird habitat. We shopped and filled up with diesel in Tame before heading first to Newell Point. It has been turned into a mud bath over winter, so we didn't stop. Disappointed at Newell Point's condition, we moved on to the Ivy Cottage on Newdale Bay. Later, Karen and Phil, who live nearby, came for a visit and a cup of tea. It was lovely to meet them for the first time. Soon it was time to say goodbye, and Lindsay and I settled down to read before bedtime. March 6th, 2020. We wandered around Newdale Bay before heading to Portrose to the Abbey. Parking at the Abbey is extremely tight. The Abbey was closed despite its published winter opening times. When we left, we found we were almost hemmed in by poor parking in the town, opposite T-junctions, on corners and on double yellow lines. We managed to get out by the seafront road. We filled with LPG at Tor and then on to Loch Achilty. After some lunch, we headed out to explore. Lindsay went for a walk and I went down to the loch and watched the bird life. Later, I put the trail cam out in the hope of catching some wildlife. We shall see. We also watched a canoeist on the loch before settling in for the evening in such a lovely setting. March 7th, 2020. We had a quiet day relaxing at Loch Achilty, listening to the radio, reading and watching the birds. We went out between showers to explore some more, then continued our task to chill the day away. Yes, just relaxing before we have to call it a day and head home tomorrow. March 8th, 2020. Today it is time to head for home. I tried to listen to the RSGB news, but no good on 2 metres as out of range, and impossible on 40 metres due to a contest station. We packed up and set off for home after another cup of tea. Wildlife: badger, red deer, roe deer, grey seal, common frog. Birds: barn owl, yellowhammer, blue-tit, chaffinch, house sparrow, cormorant, black-headed gull, herring gull, oystercatcher, curlew, pink-footed goose, blackbird, wren, buzzard, red kite, goosander, starling, wood pigeon, pheasant, collared dove, carrion crow, hooded crow, goldfinch, long-tailed tit, red-legged partridge, meadow pipit, sparrowhawk, rook, jackdaw, fulmar, great black-backed gull, rock dove, skylark, rock pipit, hooper swan, pied wagtail, stonechat, black guillemot, shag, lapwing, shelduck, grey heron, mute swan, robin, redshank, dunnock, great tit, song thrush, coal tit, knot, eider, grey lag goose, common sandpiper, tawny owl, golden eye, mallard, magpie and dipper. Thank you for watching Desmond's Donders. We'll hope you'll join us again for more photos, waffle and me as we travel around Scotland. Bye for now.